Welcome to our next council conversation. And today we have one of our newest council members. She's Janice Porter. Councilwoman Porter, welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's an honor, and it's been an honor for me in these 7 months that she has been on the council to meet and learn to know Ms. Porter, because she is a fascinating lady with a lot of wisdom and a lot of kindness. And my first question is, what made you decide to be a public servant?
I was involved in a lot of organizations, but I had a feeling that there was something I was supposed to do that I wasn't doing, and so I just prayed, God, I think there's something I'm supposed to do, but I have no clue what it is. You'll just have to show me. And then I left it at that. And a few weeks later, a friend of mine called me and said, our city council seat is coming open. Would you please run? And I thought, talked to my husband about it. We prayed about it, and I felt like that was what I was supposed to do.
That is fabulous. And it's, I just want to say it's courageous to run for office, because it's intimidating sometimes. And tell me about your experience in running for office.
Well, on the negative part, I was caricatured as a unreasonable person who would bring us back to the dark ages, and and I was accused of things that are totally out of character for me, like screaming at voters, intimidating voters, and I just I knew what the truth was, and I just had to hold my head up and just trust that the truth would come through.
Well, and that's got to be a little torturous as you're running and trying to get to the position, and the misinterpretations, we shall say, continue whether you're elected or not in public service, and that's it's commendable that you chose to do it of your own volition. And I want to know what you, like your experience sitting on the council, what you see through 7 months. How much can you say you've learned? How much what perceptions have been confirmed, and what perceptions have you seen that may have opposed what you might have assumed?
Well, it's been a privilege to get to know some key officials in our government, and to learn that they truly care about the people of Jonesboro. They want to do what's right. They want to see the city improve, and we may not always agree on how to get there, but their intentions are good and their hearts are good.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because that's been my first, I say first, I've been doing this 7 years now, but to see the good intentions, even of people who disagree, has been kind of fulfilling of my view of government, which is, skepticism is not necessarily a bad thing. And so to see the good intentions of so many people has been rewarding for me. Have there been any issues that have risen in your mind, your view, that you really want to champion, or that you're really concerned about?
I don't really have an agenda other than whatever is placed in front of me at the time, whatever the issue is, that I study it to the best of my ability and make the best choice that I can.
How do you tell me what your study process is? Every now and then we, as a city administration, are accused of lack of transparency. Tell me if you have found that to be a concern, and do you have the information you need?
The administration has been extremely helpful. First of all, the agenda is published online by Thursday noon before the meetings on Tuesday. I go online, I click on every item that we're going to be voting on, and and then along with that is all the supporting documentation, and I familiarize myself with all of that. And if I still have questions, then, then normally I reach out to Brian Richardson, and he has answered every question I've ever asked. He responds quickly, and he's extremely helpful.
And Brian Richardson is the Chief Administrative Officer. We also have Tony Thomas, who's the Chief Operations Officer, and that is pretty much the leaders from City Hall. We have a fire chief and a police chief, obviously, and those are the chiefs, executives of the city that serve the public. You also have around 20 directors of different departments who try to help when possible, and we have a lot of work to do in a city that continues to grow. Now, Councilwoman Porter, you have been in office 7 months. Where were you before?
I was doing a lot of volunteer work. When my children began to leave home, I filled up my time by joining numerous organizations, and then pretty quickly was elected to as officer. So I've been involved in the Delta Symphony Orchestra. I've been president, secretary for them. I've done the Women's Advisory Council of St. Bernard's. I've been a member of it for several years and served a term as secretary. I've done Northeast Arkansas Visual Arts League. I've been their treasurer. I've done, sounds almost like a recital telling all these things.
It's a wonderful story, and you have not mentioned watching Price is Right. So you've been very busy, and clearly you're highly thought of in the community, or you couldn't have gotten elected.
Well,
I can tell you that Ms. Porter comes from relatively humble roots, raised in Memphis in the days, and you now have, you told me, 4 children, 4 adult children,
right.
And how many grandchildren?
10.
So, and you know all them by name.
Oh, definitely. I know what they like. I know what they don't like, and it's a real joy to have that kind of a relationship with my grandchildren.
And that gives you also, you're planning Jonesboro for their future, or the ones who live here.
And I was having adult children here has, I think, been really helpful to me, because I know what their concerns are, where they want to see the city grow, and I want Jonesboro to be the kind of place where all of our children will want to return, once they get their education.
Right. You know, and that is something that we hear quite a bit, that, I want my children to want to live in Jonesboro someday. And doesn't mean they can't go off to college. Of course, you want your kids, whether they go to college or not, to see a little bit of the world. And,
right.
And I feel like you understand what you see. And do you have any thoughts on what types of things Jonesboro needs?
Well, Jonesboro is a very caring place where people care for their neighbors, and there's a strong faith community here, and that that is among the greatest strengths of Jonesboro. And we have a lot of young professionals moving in, and that's a great thing. And our schools have been very good, and I feel like, for example, my kids were well prepared to compete when they went to college because of what they received here, and I'm very thankful for that. And of course, the city council has no authority over what happens in the schools, but that's, the education is very important, and safety is very important. Memphis, my hometown where I grew up, one of their biggest problems now is the crime wave that they're experiencing. And so I want to see our police officers have the resources they need, and to have a strong, vibrant police department.
Yes, I think so, and I think the hopes, the investment that we've had so far in a real-time crime center has shown some results that are positive. And is there anything else that you would like to see in that regard?
Nothing comes to mind at the moment.
Okay, so you're good with where we are in that progress. Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure visiting with you. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
No, I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to serve, and that I take this responsibility very seriously, that I put in more than the minimum. I've been to the Arkansas Municipal League Convention twice, which is every time I've been available, and I'm working towards certification under their program. And that so far my attendance record is perfect as far as meetings.
Yes, and you know what? That is an important asset and strength that you have brought, and that's one reason that I personally feel good about what an addition you have made to our council, because you have shown up at the AML meetings, and what those meetings do is, among other things, teach newly elected officials what their roles are. And I know you attended a lot of optional meetings there as well, and you obviously have not missed a meeting here, and that's a real participant in the system and an asset to the Jonesboro City Council. So she's Janice Porter. You elected her, and we thank you. Thank you for visiting with us, Ms. Porter.
Thank you.